we helped solve a mystery that is rewriting the history of X-ray in New Zealand. The key to the puzzle was a tiny creature kept in this box, and to crack the case, we had to take this box to the hospital. But the trail began with this man, Stephen Muir, medical physicist at Te Whatu Ora Health New Zealand.
So I inherited this in January this year, 2025, and began to wonder who used this tube. And then the obvious question was, who were the first people in New Zealand to start taking X-rays? And then I realised I didn't actually know anything about the people who started taking X-rays in New Zealand. And I looked in papers past and came across the story of William Evans, who was a teacher at Christ College, who was delivering this lecture at the Arts Centre. And as preparation for that lecture, he had X-rayed a whole bunch of objects. So there's a rare New Zealand frog from Captain Hutton, the curator of the museum, had provided it, that William Evans X-rayed in preparation for this lecture.
Frederick Wollaston Hutton worked at the museum between 1887 and 1905 as a curator, which was a position equivalent to director. Stephen got in touch inquiring about what we held connected to early X-rays in Aotearoa, New Zealand, and thanks to some lottery funding, over 200,000 negatives had recently been digitised, which meant we had a lot of information to share with him. One of the items that I shared with Stephen was a glass plate X-ray of a frog, and this was of particular interest to him because it was in a box of negatives that belonged to Frederick Hutton.
It was pretty obvious that this was the frog that William Evans had X-rayed in preparation for this lecture, which made it 1896, and it was the oldest X-ray image still surviving in New Zealand, which is quite exciting. And even more exciting was that the X-ray tube that it was taken on still exists at Christ College School.
It was then that we began to wonder if we could locate the original frog specimen in the museum's collection. So we started looking through the New Zealand native frogs in our collection to see if we could find any that matched the size and pose on the X-ray. We then found this jar with 2 frogs in it. So we noticed that one of the frogs was a bit muted in colour, which could mean one of 2 things: that it was either zapped by a bunch of X-rays or that it had been exposed to light for a long time. And this frog seemed to be the right size and in the right pose.
But there was only one way to 100% confirm that it was the exact same frog, and that was to X-ray it again. So this little frog got a trip to the hospital.
Any second now? There we go. So that's it.
Wow, so clear.
So I've revised the whole history of who took X-rays first in New Zealand. Having the tube and the glass plate and the frog all together is an incredible, remarkable thing. There's no precedent like this in New Zealand at all.